and welcome to our sleep clinic. How are you doing today? I hope by the time you leave our clinic, you feel even just the littlest bit better. Now, I have your file here, and it looks like you filled out our questionnaire as well as gave us your medical history. Now, is there anything that you might have left off there or that you needed to add at all? Let me just take a little peek here. So we are primarily dealing with insomnia, correct? Good. And how often is it that you said you usually get sleep? How many hours? I see. And how would you say the quality of that sleep is? Are you able to go through your day reasonably well, or does the fatigue really drag you down? I see. Well, our goal for today is going to be to increase the quality of your sleep. See, when we have both a poor quality and a poor quantity of sleep, it's much more important for us to focus on that quality, because if you get 10 hours of poor sleep rather than 5 hours, it's not really going to make much of a difference. But a very good 5 hours versus 10 hours of poor sleep is going to make the world of difference. We also want to try to reduce any anxiety, trepidation, even a sort of dread around the thought of sleep. Many of us, when we're not able to sleep, as the day wanes and as we approach that time that we believe we should be going to sleep, that's when the sort of thoughts, the little darker thoughts that say, what if I can't sleep? What if I'm just going to stay awake the whole time? What's going to happen with my job, with the things I love to do, if I can't sleep? All of these little thoughts that obviously make things worse. Now, I want to get into a little bit about what sleep actually is, which, to put it very simply, we're not really sure. It is a period of rest, but it's also extremely active for our brains, for regeneration. But we do know a few things. We know that it helps consolidate memories. We know that we get our cell restoration and repair. And we know it helps us process emotions, as well as sort of general housekeeping. Now, in terms of what sleep is composed of, we can take a little look at what the different stages of that are. We have two types of sleep: non-REM sleep and REM sleep. In our non-REM sleep, we have 3 stages, and REM sleep is just REM sleep. In stage 1, this is when we first fall asleep. And this lasts for several minutes, 10, 15 minutes maybe. And it is a light stage. Stage 2 is light sleep, and this is where most of your sleep occurs. It's going to be all throughout the night. Most sleep occurs. And then we have stage 3, which is your deep sleep. And most of our deep sleep is going to occur in the first half of the night. That's where you got a lot of your physical restoration. And then we move to REM sleep, and this is where most of your dreaming occurs. So these all work in cycles. It's not just going to be you have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 REM, that's it. It's all going to alternate throughout the night. You might normally fall asleep right here, and let's say we have REM, light, and deep sleep here. So you fall asleep and you're in that light for a little bit. You might drop into deep for a little bit, go into REM, drop into light for a while, deep, all the way to REM, light, deep, REM, over and over until you start kind of doing one of these, until maybe you wake up. So there are a lot of little drop-offs and a lot of little cycles. So now that we know a little bit more about our sleep, I want to take you through something a little experimental with our clinic. Generally, these appointments consist of us analyzing the information that you've given us regarding your sleep. We might take you through some tips for your sleep hygiene, and then we might give you some relaxation techniques to try. But I think that this might work a little bit better for you. So I would like to take you through a sort of deep concentration and relaxation state. You could call it a trance, but that's not necessarily what we're going for. What we want to do is when we put you in this state, we're doing a couple of things. We are trying to increase attention, memory, and make what we're saying here, our suggestions, feel a little more familiar. When you're in the middle of not being able to sleep, it's going to be kind of difficult to want to try to do those things. You might think it's not really going to work. It doesn't matter, right? So we're trying to increase that familiarity so that it feels a little more like second nature. And we're also trying to reduce the feelings of cringe, of anxiety, of overthinking it, all of these little negative emotions that cheapen the effort, that make it feel like, what's the point anyway, right? It's not going to work anyway, sort of thing. So that's what we're trying to work on, is getting deeper into your subconscious, planting some of these suggestions, and that way it'll feel a lot more natural. So, if that sounds all right with you, I would like to start with a little bit of general relaxation. All right. Is it all right if I touch you? Good. So I'd like to start with just some muscle relaxation. First, I'd like to get your shoulders from being hitched up and tense. We're going to pull them down and roll them back. So I'm going to put my hands on top of your shoulders, and I'm just going to push them down. Just a steady, gentle pressure. Push them down. Good. And then we're going to roll them back. We're going to open up the chest. You might even have the sternum pop a bit. And we're going to pull the shoulder blades towards each other. So we're going to go up and back. Roll them back. Up and back. And you feel that bit of stretch in the chest. Good. All right. So another one of our big offenders tends to be the temporomandibular joint and the masseter muscle. So right in here. I want you to just note how the inside of your mouth feels, how your jaw feels. Is it all clenched up? Are your teeth sitting quite tightly together? Where is your tongue at? Just think about those and maybe see if there's something a little more comfortable you can do with them. For example, you might be able to let the jaw open a little bit. Not enough that you have to force it, just allow a little bit of space between the teeth. And perhaps if it's comfortable, allowing the tongue to sit at the bottom of the mouth. For some people, that's not very comfortable. So you might think about resting the tip of your tongue on the top of your mouth and finding somewhere where it feels effortless, essentially. So just take a moment to rearrange the mouth and the jaw. When we reduce this tension, we often reduce the tension we might feel here, which then in turn reduces the overall muscle tension in the head. These are very powerful muscles, and when these are very clenched, then that energy carries over to the rest of the head. Are there any other places you think there is any sort of tension going on? Any place maybe you can relax a little further. Perhaps it's in the feet. Perhaps you are clenching the muscles of your legs. Perhaps it's your hands. Instead of keeping them clenched, perhaps allowing them to open a little. Just take a quick moment to see if there is anything you can do to make yourself more comfortable. Very good. Now we are going to start with an induction. So this induction, we're going to work with some deep breathing as well as an eye exercise and a little bit of a general body relaxation. So I'm going to have you start by breathing with me. We're going to take a deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. if you could keep up with that deeper breathing and just notice how with each cycle of breath, how your body feels a little heavier, how your body might be able to sink a little bit deeper into the surface beneath you. How with every cycle of breath, the world feels a little slower, and my voice is a little easier to concentrate on. Maybe some of the background fades away. Maybe it's easier to just focus on one thing. Now I'm going to be doing a little eye exercise with you. I could have you just look at my finger here, and I'm going to have you track my finger using only your eyes without moving your head. And just to make sure that you are tracking my finger, just going to move it around and watch that the tracking is smooth, that you're focusing. Good. Now I'm going to bring it up here, and I want you to focus on my finger without blinking. Your eyes might get a little itchy, a little watery, but I want you to keep them open. We're not going to do this for long. Just long enough to tire them out so that you'll feel even more relaxed when I say you can close your eyes. Keep your eyes open. Focus on my finger. Might be a little bit of strain, but we're going to start closing the eyes down, closing them down. Good, good. Now, I want you to focus on the tips of your toes. Feel the tips of your toes. Maybe wiggle them a little bit. Feel your toes and move to the balls of your feet. Good. And now the backs of your thighs. And your chest, the backs of your arms, the tips of your fingers, and then maybe the back of your head and your face. Feel everything start to loosen. Everything relaxes a little deeper. Start to feel a little heavier against the surface underneath you. And then we are going to do a little visualization. And if you can't visualize, that's okay. I will ask that you try to imagine the sensations instead. So we are going to have you at the top of a staircase. Pretty standard procedure. And there are 10 steps to this staircase. I am going to have you stand at the top, and then we're going to go down. So as you take your first step to the 9th step, you're going to feel even more relaxed. As you take another step down, you can feel yourself sink even deeper, deeper and deeper with each step. Go down to the 7th step, 6th step, deeper and deeper. 5th step, the 4th step, even more relaxed, even heavier. Down to the 3rd step, the 2nd step, deeper, deeper, deeper still. Then you get to the 1st step and down onto the landing. Now, I am going to be implanting some suggestions in your subconscious. And these are suggestions we would talk about in any other session, but we're trying to get them to stick a little bit better, to feel a little more natural. I'm going to read to you some of our little tips for sleep. No matter when you go to bed or how long you sleep, you can get up at the same time each day. You have the ability to wake up at the same time each day. That's very important to help reset your body's inner schedule. Is no matter how long it took you to fall asleep, no matter how much sleep you got, you have the ability to wake up at the same time each day. No sleeping in, just waking up at the same time. You can go to bed when you are so tired you are nodding off, so that it's much easier and quicker to slip into sleep. Not when you feel a little bit tired or when you think you should go to bed, but when you feel your eyes droop, you might feel yourself do that little shake thing to keep yourself up. That's when we want you to go to bed. Because as soon as you get in there, it's much more likely that by the time you close your eyes, you will already be going to sleep. If you can't sleep, or if you wake up, you can leave the bedroom and do something enjoyable instead, like watching TV, a relaxing game, reading, music, things like that. We want to associate your bed with sleeping only. So instead of coupling the sensation of being in bed and that dread, that anxiety, we want you to leave and instead do something that you like doing. And that way, even though you're not asleep, you're still having a decent time, right? And we're trying to reduce that dread and those negative associations with sleep. While the mind sometimes chafes under routine, the body loves routine. You have the ability to relax and create a soothing routine before bed that your body looks forward to. Just like resetting your schedule with having you get up at the same time Your body thrives on routine. It's constantly looking to implement that routine that it would naturally do. So by giving yourself little bits, not necessarily a long drawn out thing, but these little bits of routine so that your body knows, oh, I see. So this is when we need to start getting ready to sleep. Then again, we're trying to make it easier and quicker to fall asleep. Now, I'd like to add some affirmations into our session here. Again, we're trying to make this feel much less of a negative experience and more something that feels like you can work with, something that feels achievable. You can find deep satisfaction and restoration in sleep. Sleep can come quickly and easily for you. You deserve quality, refreshing sleep. You have the ability to enjoy sleep. It's okay to let go and let your body take over. Your body knows what it is doing, and you have the ability to trust in its innate knowledge. The concept of sleep is something that essentially all living beings, as far as I know, go through that period of rest and revitalization. Everything in the world can do it, and you can as well. It is not so much a mysterious process as something you just more need to know the rules of. You know the parameters, the thresholds. Everybody's are a little different. So that's our goal. We're trying to understand your parameters and work within those guidelines so that we're not trying to force anything, but instead we're trying to integrate what your body's trying to do, what you're trying to do, and bring it together. Now, I'm going to have you take a deep breath in and out. Good. Deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. Good. And just pay attention to the way your body feels, the deep relaxation in all of your joints, in your fingers, in your toes. Allow that to wash over you, to sink into you. Good. Now I'm going to have you reimagine those stairs for me. And we are going to go back up the stairs. As you put your foot on the first stair and lift yourself up, we're going to bring you a little more into alertness. As you take another step up, you feel a little more refreshed, a little more alert. We go up to the third and then the fourth step, feeling more and more alert. The 5th, the 6th step, going up to the 7th and feeling much more awake, much more alert, and then up to the 8th and the 9th step, feeling almost completely awake and alert. And then we go to the 10th step. I want you to keep your eyes closed for a moment, and I want you to sense the room around you. Feel the edges of the room. Feel the edges of your body. Good. And then very slowly, without any rush at all, allow your eyes to open and feel awake and alert. How you doing? Good. So, how was that experience? Does it feel like you remember what was going on? There might be that little bit of fogginess while your subconscious is sort of mulling over that information. It's a lot more innate than you think it is. It's just something that it's kind of turning over. And I do have all of these suggestions and affirmations I gave you, which we'll be giving to you so that you don't have to rely on that little bit that I gave you, but you can read it and recall those suggestions. Now, is there anything that I can answer for you or anything else that I can do for you? Wonderful. Okay. So that is going to conclude your first session, and the next time we'll talk a little bit about how this little experiment went, and we can create a plan going from there. I'd like to thank you so much for coming to the sleep clinic. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, it would greatly help me out if you clicked the like button and left a comment so YouTube's algorithm registers that it was a good video. If you want to see more of my work, consider subscribing to the channel. I create primarily medical, pseudoscience / alternative medicine, and personal attention ASMR roleplays, but I've done a little bit of everything from historical to sci-fi to fantasy. If you'd like to support the channel, I offer ad-free videos, early access on videos, and exclusive content on Patreon, or I also have a Ko-Fi link for a one-time donation or a throne wish list for props and equipment. Thank you again, and I hope you have a whale of a day.